Couple of topics to make you aware of this evening regarding the budget. The first piece is budget adjustments, and what that means is that we've moved some money around into some spots where things we anticipate expenses and spending, but we did not spend. And so at the formal board meeting in a couple of weeks, you'll be getting a recommendation or resolution to pass those budget adjustments, and then we publish that in the paper about 10 days later, okay? And that's just a accounting / auditing practice that we need to have in place. So we'll be doing that. You did that last year, but you did it a little bit earlier in the year. And this time, we thought we would wait till the end of the year, do all the adjustments, and then just have you vote once. So I wanted to tell you that. Where that goes then, ladies and gentlemen, is if you go to page 2 of your packet. This is the most updated adjustment piece that we've got for you right now. The revenues are adjusted, and you'll see an increase in the revenue in the general fund, 3/4 of the way down the page, 80% down the page. And you can see the adjustment goes from 16,048 to 16,197. Do you see that?
Mm-hmm.
There's an asterisk next to general fund. Okay, so that's the income adjustment. Okay, and then there's an expense adjustment a couple lines down from 16,253 to 16,269. We're not anticipating any more adjustments in the income part, but because the year hasn't finished yet, we've got about 6-7 weeks of school yet. That expense part is going to vary yet. But for right now, first full week of May, that's where that's at. So once you do the simple math, then right now we've got $134,000 more than what we had anticipated. Okay. All right.
Cool.
Yeah, but some of that was that per pupil adjustment, right?
Yes, exactly.
So my question on that is, I'm anticipating that's a carryover for us to utilize for next year buy down of no increasing or anything.
There's lots of options. For
Yeah, I know, but I'm not looking at
Well,
spending that, you know what I mean?
so if you go back to page 1, we have some optional projects that we can pursue because we're ahead as far as the revenue part of things, okay? And the optional projects range from security cameras to finishing the tablet initiative, replacing the second maintenance truck. The window blinds and the flooring, we already have accounted for within this year's budget, so you can put a little X next to those, we're gonna take care of that.
I was gonna say, I thought we were.
Yeah, that's in the budget anyway. I got some blacktop bids as recently as this morning, and I've got that information for you too. Yeah, for Fox River and Trailside. And then the last piece is some software monitoring, monitoring software, new package of about $25,000. So we've got the opportunity to address some of these things that are on that project list. Getting back to what Dan was talking about, and actually elaborating about what Dan was talking about. If you go back to that, these sheets here, basically we've got about 7 months of the school year left. I'm anticipating a larger surplus than that $134,000 that I told you about at the bottom of that spreadsheet on page 2. I was thinking about targeting that surplus above and beyond that $134,000 to three different spots. One would be a Fund 73, and remember that's the OPEB fund that we've put money into for post-employment benefits. The second piece is assigning it to fund balance, kind of like what we did this last year with the roof project. If you remember, we set aside money in the assigned fund balance for maintenance projects. The third option is transferring money to Fund 39, and Fund 39 is our debt service fund, okay? What that does, big picture, we can do a couple things within that Fund 39 piece. We can build up a balance, in other words, increase the fund balance of Fund 39, and then next year we don't have to tax as much in Fund 39, okay? We can build up the balance in Fund 39 and invest it and pay off the overall debt or what we owe sooner, okay? The reason I'm thinking about putting some extra money in Fund 39 is because of the continuing interest of the 4K piece. And longer term, my concern is with the state aid piece increasing because we'll have more kids, okay? It's gonna shrink our ability to tax. So what I'm saying is that revenue limit really kicks in and hits us a little bit harder because we've been taxing at a very low rate. And so what I'm getting at is the base rate or the base level that we've been starting at for a couple of years is lower than a lot of other districts. And so by having more money built up in Fund 39, we can increase how much we're taxing in Fund 10. Does that make sense to you? But we're actually not, the big picture is we're not necessarily increasing taxes astronomically across the board.
Yeah,
We're just-
taxing less for debt service and more
Exactly.
for operation.
You're exactly right.
Yes.
That's,
Well, it makes fun, that
So-
makes sense.
and it's to our benefit to increase our Fund 10 base number just because of the revenue piece.
Okay.
So that's the information I want to get in front of you tonight. I'm not asking you to take any action per se as a committee, other than my question is, do you need more information on some of these optional projects that are at the top of the page? Because it would be nice to get board approval at our May 19th meeting. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, if you could share your thinking on those, that'd be great.
Sure. The, I think it was at the beginning of no, I take that back. It was at the end of last year, we replaced the security camera piece over at Fox River.
Mhm.
There's 3 dead spots yet that haven't been covered, so that's what that 3 is for, as far
Would
as
that be inside or outside?
inside. The outside is done well,
Okay.
yeah. So that's what the 3 pieces is for Fox Rivers to add 3 more cameras. The trail side piece, we've had vandalism there, I mean, consistently the last several summers, whether it's broken windows and graffiti. Most of the time it's broken windows, either indoors or whatever. And we've never been able to, from a restitution standpoint, catch the offenders
In
and,
Woodfield, we've been hit with graffiti too.
yeah, and graffiti. So what I asked Cannon to do is see what the cost of installing just exterior cameras at Trailside would be, to assist with both as a deterrent, but also when that does happen, assist law enforcement and identification. So the whole project of the Fox River cameras and the Trailside cameras and the cabling and the necessary hardware, in addition to those 9 cameras at Trailside, comes up to $14,000. The tablet initiative, that's just finishing the iPads in the classrooms that don't have it.
K2?
Yeah, and basically the cost is almost identical because we split it in half, as far as half the classrooms have it district-wide and half don't, so the cost is almost identical. The maintenance truck is, basically what prompted this is one of the auto dealers contacted me, oh gosh, several months ago, came in and wanted to talk about setting up a fleet arrangement. And you know, the thing is we just replaced one truck, as you know, back in September. The other truck is 10 years old, has about 80,000 miles on it, probably needs some work on it, but it's not,
Not a big need.
it's not,
We could wait on that, yeah.
we can still wait on it, but,
Yeah, the other one had over 100,000, it was actually newer,
and it was, yeah,
and it was getting there.
yeah,
Here's the issue I have, I don't wanna get into the position of having too many new things at all locations at one time. It's like having 2 new schools, we're always at
yeah.
double for
Yeah, like
everything.
And that thought crossed my mind.
I'd
I'd
rather
like to see
space
2,
it
3
out.
years between the trucks.
Yeah, that's fine, I wanted, anyway, so that dealership that came put a proposal on the table as far as what it would cost.
Yeah.
Ken then went back to the dealership that he got that truck from in September, and that's the number, that vendor came in lower, and so that's what that price was, so you've got that information. I told you knew about the window blind piece, classroom floor replacement, that's we take a couple of classrooms every summer over at Evergreen and replace the original carpeting. And so there's 2 more classrooms that are.
I'm assuming you're putting the squares down, just like.
We
the
are.
rest of it. Okay.
Yeah, we're actually going tile again,
Yeah,
yeah.